Hi, my name is Victoria Findlay Wolfe, and I am documenting this quilt for the known and unknown quilt exhibit for the Quilt Alliance. It is August 2020, and I'm at my home here in New York. This is my quilt, I Can't Think Straight. As many of you and myself included, during March at the start of our quarantine, I was very ridden with the anxiety and the stress, and I just could not focus on working on a project. And I decided that I needed to do something to feel like I was getting something done creatively. So I decided that I would take my solids and I would just start sewing them into long strips of all these different colors, adding in some whites and blacks, and I would eventually just make that quilt. But the more that I started thinking about it, and I was more upset and more stressed and all of this about the unknown and uncertainty of what was going on with quarantine and COVID-19, I decided the quilt needed more, and so I pondered that if I made circles with making combinations of fabrics that made me feel uncomfortable, that I could work through those feelings by making a quilt. And as I started out, picking some very bright and not the most attractive color combinations, and I found that rather difficult to do that because my instinct was always to put pretty colors together. They are pretty individual, but together they kind of were clashing a little bit, but they were hitting the mark for the way that I was feeling at that particular moment. The more that I was working on this quilt, each ring, as I went around the quilt, I started to realize, oh, they're getting easier, and the reason they were getting easier is that I was falling back into the pattern of being comfortable with the process and just making pretty combinations again. So all of a sudden I'm trying to make one that maybe wasn't as pretty, and then all of a sudden I make one that was really pretty. So I had to really struggle and work with those mixed feelings that were going on, as they still are going on, as we are still here in quarantine here in New York. I also then started thinking about testing, COVID testing. Are you a positive? Are you a negative? Did you get it? Did you not get it? Are you okay? That's where the X's fell into place. And I was looking for fabrics and colors, the X being the one who's positive, that would help to tell that story. I'd love to be able to tell a story and work those feelings out emotionally so that I know that by the end of the quilt that I felt better. And that's what I really love about quilt making, is that I can work out all of that at a time as uncertain as it is, but come up with something that just makes me really happy. And I think that's a great gift of quilting. Thank you.